All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Starfield is very close, and we've already seen some people come out and talk about basically hinting that the game is going to be very, very good. We've seen this here, which I think is very positive, and that is Tyler McVicker saying that he's played the game for 15 hours and has not seen a single bug, which is probably going to surprise a lot of people who like to think of Bethesda as Bugthesda, where the games come out, there's a bunch of bugs, and they eventually do get worked out. So that's a very big positive, and I think probably delaying the game to September 2023 has a major role to play in the fact that seemingly there's going to be a lot less bugs in this release than other Bethesda games. And the conversation around Starfield as we're leading up to the release, you were seeing a lot of narratives out there nitpicking on things about the game, even from people who haven't even played it. We have this here from Grums, who has been in the Twitter headlines previously, specifically talking about Xbox as well. And we have another thing here saying the physiognomy of start screens. The start screen of a game can reveal a lot about how rushed the team was and how much pride they took in their work. Starfield start screen either shows hasty shipping deadlines by a passionate team overworked or a team that didn't care. Start screens are often done at the very end of development. Teams are too busy making the core game. It's quite common for the start screen to completely change once the game is shipping or on patch 0. Teams that take pride want to put a good face forward and will often redo these just prior to the game going live. And then he gives here an example. And this has just completely blown up over Twitter because now, as we're getting to the release of Starfield, first it was the marketing wasn't there. Then it hadn't gone gold. So is there something wrong with the game? And now that all of those things have been completely debunked, there's been tons of marketing. We even have more marketing here where in New York City, they're showing Starfield on these big screens. Now, the narrative before the release of Starfield is the start screen, meaning that this game was rushed and that the developers didn't take pride enough or were pushed too hard and overworked to get this game out. It's actually crazy to think about that. We're sitting here talking about start screens, but I feel like there is a faction of people that want Starfield to fail. They want this game to not be as good as it's seemingly going to be, which in my opinion, as somebody who hasn't played a second of this game, I would love to get my hands on it early, but it's not going to happen, is going to end up being a generational RPG based off of what we know Bethesda can do, how long this game has been in development, and some of the rumblings we have heard right now as people do have the games in their hand. I know that's a crazy assumption to make, but I believe that this is going to end up being that, and I believe this is going to be an absolutely incredible experience for RPG lovers and for people who like Bethesda's other games. And even if you don't, maybe this is your first Bethesda game, I feel like it will get a lot of new fans over to Bethesda, to their studios, and to Xbox as well, as this is an Xbox exclusive. My expectation of Starfield is, I should say that instead, my expectation is it's going to be a generational RPG, and I think Starfield has a major opportunity here to make this one of the best games to release this generation and people playing it for as long as they play Skyrim. And I think they know that, which is why the delay and everything, where we're getting this game in a couple of weeks, was very, very smart decision. And I don't believe in any way that this game will be pushed out before it is ready to go live and ready for people to really, really enjoy it. But the fact that we're talking here about start screens clearly shows that people are going to try to nitpick the heck out of Starfield even after its release. I think there's going to be lots of different narratives out there, no matter how good this game is, to try to make it look worse than it is. We're going to see that continuous comparison of Baldur's Gate 3 versus Starfield, simply because Baldur's Gate 3 isn't releasing on Xbox at the same time, and people are thinking that it's a timed PlayStation exclusive, which it obviously isn't. It's just the fact that we know what's going on with Baldur's Gate 3 with the split screen and having to get to work on the Series S, and they're not able to push it out because of the parity clause, and they need to make sure that's all working properly before it does get pushed out. But I think we are going to see a lot of that with Starfield's release, and none of it is going to matter. If Starfield is great, if it does meet my expectations of that generational RPG, it doesn't matter how many posts like this, how many back and forths on Twitter are from people trying to make the game look bad. People are already lying. We've seen people say that they have the game using old screenshots from like 2 months ago that were leaked, and giving these insane narratives as to the game being broken and all this type of stuff. None of it's going to make difference. It doesn't matter how many people review bomb the game on Metacritic. It will make zero difference as to how well Starfield does, which why I am so excited about this, because a great game will destroy any of those things. And it looks like it's seemingly going to be like that Starfield is going to live up to all of those expectations. And if it doesn't, well, it will be very, very disappointing. But the start screen itself, here it is. It is simplistic. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I actually think it could be even more simplistic by taking away that box in the top right corner. And it means absolutely nothing to how this game is going to end up. But this was the narrative people had when it comes to Starfield. You were really starting to see it ramp up in the next 2 weeks or so. Will be fun to see, honestly, what other crazy narratives people start to bring up in terms of trying to bring down Starfield. Now, let us jump over here to some other stuff. So Avowed, we got some information here about Avowed. They are actually now working with Devoted Studios, and Devoted Studios is a support team. They outsource and they get artists and engineers and all that type of stuff to work on major games. They actually helped work on Halo Infinite. So Microsoft and Xbox, they have a good relationship with Devoted Studios, and now they are jumping over here and helping in the development of Avowed, which plans to launch in 2024. So there it is. They are reaching out, trying to get more people on, trying to make sure that this game is ready to go in 2024. And this is another huge RPG that is coming down the pipeline. Like Xbox, in terms of RPGs, they are loaded. And if you are an RPG fan, it is definitely the best platform to play on. RPGs, first-person shooters, those are probably two of their biggest genres in terms of the amount of games that they have coming out. And Game Pass and Xbox are hitting their stride right now. They're hitting their stride where I think 2024 will almost be at their peak. After Starfield releases, after Forza, after Avowed comes out, it will be non-stop incredible games coming out from Xbox on Game Pass. And it's an extremely, extremely exciting time for the Xbox platform. And one of those other games that I would love to see come back in terms of a new game is Killer Instinct. We know they are giving us that free upgrade with the 4K, which is great to see, but a brand new Killer Instinct built for this generation of consoles, I think would be an awesome thing. And it just will add to the portfolio that Xbox has, because obviously they are missing a major fighter, or at least a new major fighter. You can still go out there and play the current Killer Instinct, which is still a great game. But we have this Brandon Alexander here of Ultra Arcade. As we know, Ultra Arcade announced the Killer Instinct World Championships and stuff, a major part in that. He is at Microsoft right now, takes this picture and says, man, what are the Killer Instinct guys? Where are the Killer Instinct guys at? So who knows what this means? It could be nothing. It could be him playing the new upgrade to the current Killer Instinct, or maybe they're bringing him in to get his opinion for a Killer Instinct 2, or literally he could just be standing in front of the Microsoft sign and that's it. I'm just taking a picture to hype people up. But who knows? It'd be cool to see a new Killer Instinct. I really hope that it does happen. Now, when it comes to Hi-Fi Rush and Tango Gameworks, I think it's a gem studio that Xbox was able to pick up in the Bethesda acquisition. We clearly saw that with Hi-Fi Rush, as it was a stealth release game and it's a beloved game this year. I think it should be up there for a Game of the Year nomination, or at least in the talks. It should be something that gets in the mix, because there are so many great games that come out in 2023. It may not be nominated, but it's an incredible game regardless. It definitely will win some awards, I think, during the Game Awards in 2023. And Jeff Grubb talks about Microsoft and Xbox in terms of where they stand right now with Tango Gameworks. So let's just listen quickly to what Jeff Grubb says here. Let's turn it on.
Same time, Microsoft very, very, very happy with that studio. They like that studio a lot, and they are reinvesting in it. And they care a lot about that studio having a bright future. So take those things how you will. To me, that sounds like, regardless of how it's performed, just in terms of raw numbers, they think that studio is going to keep doing great things.
So there you go. And it makes complete sense. I mean, Tango Gameworks is a studio that I think Xbox and Microsoft want to continue to focus on regardless of Hi-Fi Rush came out, because it is one of their biggest entries into the Japanese market. It's a Japanese studio. They want to continue to get games into that market and grow out in Japan, because that is a market that they still have a lot of work to do. I mean, Phil Spencer is doing a lot. I mean, he was able to get Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox, which you can tell that took a lot of work working with Square Enix. He mentioned about trying to get a bigger foothold and be a top of mind in Japan before this generation started. And Tango Gameworks is a huge step in that direction. I feel like they're probably going to want to try to go out and get more studios in Japan and try to build out that way. And one of those studios or one of those publishers that people are always talking about is Sega. Could Xbox ever acquire Sega because of their relationship? How good of a relationship they've had for many, many years. They have that partnership right now with Super Game and the cloud technology, all of that type of stuff. And then this year, something that would be, I think, even more attractive for Microsoft to want to pursue Sega, and that is that Sega has completed their acquisition of Rovio. And we know Microsoft and Xbox want to expand out into mobile more. That's the reason they're purchasing Activision Blizzard. They know they need the mobile gamer to be able to make more money and to be able to continue to invest in Xbox and continue to grow the brand. And now that Sega has officially purchased Rovio, the Angry Birds developer, this is going to be something that I think will be more attractive for Microsoft to potentially look at if they wanted to ever make it an offer to Sega. And this deal now has gone through. So Sega as well, we can see whether they sell or not, believe that the mobile space is the space that they need to continue to grow in, to grow their business. And we'll see what happens. Maybe Xbox doesn't have an interest in purchasing Sega. Maybe they just want to continue to be very good partners, which is great too. But I think something like this will open their eyes a little bit more into potentially making an offer. Now, let's talk about this to end off this video, where I talked about it, I think it was 2 days ago or something, and it's Xbox's new enforcement system. They put out a new enforcement system where it's like an 8-step process before you get banned off of the social networking side of Xbox for an entire year. And in the Xbox Wire post that they did put out, they did say that reports were not done automatically, that somebody on the Xbox safety team would be looking at all of these reports. And I said, that's a good thing, but we will have to wait and see how this works, because enforcement systems are always abused and they generally just don't work out well when they try to create these systems to keep people in their safe spaces and everything because they don't like things that are being said. These systems will always get used abusively against people for no reason, or just people that others don't like, even if they've done nothing wrong. And we already are starting to see this. And I think this could end up being a major problem here for Xbox, Microsoft. They have to get this enforcement system under control, or we're going to see a lot of this stuff popping up and pissing off a ton of people. This is Stallion, as we know. Stallion, the gamer score, the million. He's going for 3 million now in gamer score. And he got this. He says, "Here we go. Non-warranted enforcement strikes again. My Xbox account, it says I'm banned for 2 days." Got this response here from Xbox saying the Xbox safety team has found that recent behavior by the Xbox profile based on your email address violated one or more terms of the community standards for Xbox for Microsoft's service agreement. And this is the reasoning. Xbox profile, 1 strike, 2, and he's suspended for 2 days. 2 days suspension, 2 days remaining, expires in 2024. Well, I guess the strike on the actual profile itself, it'll still be on there, but his 2-day suspension expires on August 20th. And it says the reason for the action: this account violated the community standard and it was subjected to enforcement action impact while the current suspension remains active. This account cannot communicate with others, join multiplayer games, or upload media to the Xbox network. So you can still play games, offline stuff, still unlock achievements, all that type of stuff, but you're not going to be able to play anything online, play any multiplayer. And this is an issue because obviously there's no reason why Stallion 83 here should be getting a 2-day suspension. I doubt he's going out there and doing things that warrant this, but probably what happened is you have people who don't like Xbox, people here who are fanboys or just don't like Stallion, just mass reporting him, and he gets this strike. And if this is something that continues to keep up, I think this enforcement system has to completely be scrapped. If people want to report people, if they want to have this reporting system, there has to be just the deep investigations to every report, so people aren't being struck. They're not getting strikes on their profile, because this is a strike that stays there until February 2nd or February 14th, 2024. And like I said, if he gets more strikes between that, he could get banned off of all of this stuff for an entire year. And this is an issue. Xbox definitely needs to look into this and make sure that this enforcement system isn't going to be able to be abused, because it's just going to continue to happen. Think about social media influencers, think about YouTubers, think about even people who come on to my channel. Maybe they don't like me and they mass report me, all of that type of stuff, people that you've never interacted with. So hopefully this does get under control. But I will leave the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
We'll be right back.